I read this book, Atomic Habits, in one sitting yesterday. Here are 8 things that I learned from it. Now, if you don't know who I am, which you probably don't because this is my first video, my name is Damien Alvarez. I live in Chicago and I am on a self-development journey, I guess you can say. I've recently become fascinated with books like this, self-development, self-help, business books, stuff like that. And I wanted to share that kind of mindset journey with you guys. So now what the plan is for this channel is I'm going to be reading these popular books. I'm going to be documenting my mindset journey. I'm sharing that with you guys. I figure if I'm going to be reading these books already, I might as well share it with somebody, and hopefully some of you guys can learn out of kind of the way that I interpret it. So enjoy yourself. It was a tough read. It took me about 8 hours to get this thing finished up, but I hope you enjoy my key takeaways from it. All right, so the time is 12:54 on November 18th. It's backwards, but you can still see that. We're going to be reading Atomic Habits today out loud in one sitting. So let's get right into it. Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones, by James Clear. The backbone of this book is my 4-step model of habits: cue, craving, response, and reward. Chapter 16: How to stick with good habits every day. That's the power of atomic habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results. All right, so we just finished Atomic Habits here. Started this morning. It is now 11:57. Same day, November 18th. Finished it just before midnight. Um, Pretty tired. It's a long read to go through in one sitting, but enjoyed it. Learned a lot from it. I'm gonna do a review tomorrow when I wake up. Um, add it to the end of this video. But yeah, overall pretty good book. The main takeaways I got from it so far are just that it helps you take control of your life. Having these habits and having this framework in place helps you realize that everything is an output or an input in your life, right? If you want to work towards something, you have to set the goals to get there, right? There's a path that's lined out for you. You have to figure out what that path is, and you have to set your goals to be on that path, right? And then try everything that you can to be on that path forever. Um, and yeah, just keep going. At the end of the day, just keep going. Nothing comes easy in this world, whether it comes in relationships, whether that's work or whatever you're involved in. Nothing is easy. It takes time. Everything, the amount of volume needed for something is incredibly overwhelming at sometimes, but just got to keep pushing. I'll do a more thorough breakdown tomorrow. I'm just completely wiped and exhausted right now from taking this out in one sitting. But yeah. All right, it is now the next day. Don't really know how to do this. My first time recording, I guess, a book review, but we're gonna do this all one take, no cuts, just raw. But I got a few notes here that I wanted to kind of share the key takeaways I took from the book, how it applies to my life, how I'm going to apply it moving forward, and how I'm kind of already doing some of these things without even knowing it. So the main thing I got away, one of the main things was that things don't just happen. You have to work towards something. Things don't just kind of fall into your lap. Sometimes you get lucky with a certain opportunity, but we're talking about the big picture here. You don't just accidentally become someone wealthy, or you don't just accidentally become someone famous. You have to set goals and work towards that every single day. You have to set your life up in a way that um, is going towards that path, right? So I guess the way that I am using this currently is I'm trying to learn everything I can from people around me. I'm doing a lot of research online, trying to put myself around people that have been where I want to go. And doing that day in and day out has improved my mentality in incredible ways over the past year since I've been doing that. So that's kind of the first thing. The next thing I have is that the goal your goals should be inputs instead of results, right? So the goals should be to do whatever you have to do today, not the result of it, right? So your goal shouldn't be to lose weight. Your goal is not to get famous. Your goal is not to get rich. Your goal is to do this thing for a consistent period of time, right? So if that's whatever cold calling, the goal is to do 100 cold calls a day. It's not to, whatever your output of those cold calls is to make sales or to get clients. The goal should be every day I'm making 100 cold calls. That's your goal. And you set that for however long you need to set that for, instead of setting the goal as something that you can't control, right? Your goals should be controllable, actionable, and measurable, in my opinion. And that's kind of the way that I frame my goals nowadays. It's like, yesterday I wanted to read this book, so I said today I'm going to read this book. And it was just kind of, the goal was not to learn from the book. It was not to get anything out of the book, even though obviously you are. The goal is to read the book. So that's just kind of a mindset shift that I've done, or I've tried to incorporate in my life recently, and it's helped a lot with not being so down on yourself, not being so negative when you don't reach those goals, but instead being proud of yourself because you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. So the next thing is the ultimate, Zen mode, or ultimate state that you want to get to is identity change. So this is where the actions that you want to do come naturally to you, and you don't even have to think about them, right? So all your habits are natural to you. You don't have to put any brain power towards doing those things. Something that is really hard to do, obviously. You can learn some frameworks and some methods in this book, which I'm looking to improve and implement in my life. But yeah, for the most part, you want to incorporate these habits so deeply into your person, into your character, that they become natural every single day. So that's, I guess, the ultimate goal that I kind of got out of this book here. One thing I kind of have incorporated from people that I've read about online and researched online, people like Alex Hormozi, professional business leaders in the YouTube space, people that are just like mentor coaches or have done crazy things. One thing specifically I've learned from Alex Hormozi that I've applied from this book is learning something along the lines of learning is changing, but ignorance is staying the same, right? So the definition to learn something is to change your behavior or to do something different. And the inverse of learning is to stay the same or not change anything. So if you can read all the books you want, you can do everything that people tell you to do, but if you don't change anything in your behavior once you learn these key principles from the book, whatever you took out of it, then you didn't actually learn anything. You're just in the same state you were. Nothing is changing in your actual life. It's just your mentality that you're thinking that you're learning things, but you're doing nothing different. So clearly you haven't learned the lesson. All right, so that was hit on multiple times in the book. That's just something I thought was a general idea that I got out of the book, that was applicable from a different person. So the next thing I have is adding things to what you're already doing is a good place to start to build habits. So think about your day. For example, every single morning I wake up, I take a shower, and then I make breakfast for myself, right? But that can be broken down into certain micro steps, and he breaks it down really good in the book. James Clear does. Gives you a really good framework for implementing positive things in your life, and having the cues of those positive things be things you're already doing, things that you're not thinking of. So for example, you don't have to be reminded, you don't have to think about waking up in the morning and going to the bathroom typically, right? That just happens. But every time, if you can remember every time you go to the bathroom to do this other certain good habit, then it's reinforced over, wake up every single day and go to the bathroom. Every single day that you do that, it's reinforced over and over and over and over again. So one thing that I noticed myself doing this morning without even thinking about it was, every single morning when I'm making breakfast, I take out my supplements that I'm taking for the day and I put them on the counter, just so I can remind myself that I have to take those instead of keeping them in the pantry or keeping them in my bathroom. I bring them out physically and put them on the counter, so I remember to take them. Right, so little things like that. You're already going to go in the kitchen to make breakfast. Might as well add this small thing that takes 2 seconds to do to remind you to do something that's very important. So that's something I do every day. You can do with other things like remembering to take your creatine for fitness people, or just certain cues can trigger other good things, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, the next biggest thing I got is that your environment is the biggest, I guess, decider of the future you. Your environment shapes you in more ways than you know. Being around people that are lower than you in mentality, or I don't mean to say that in the way like you shouldn't hang around people that aren't on the same wave as you, But if you want to get somewhere where no one in your immediate circle has been, they probably don't know how to get there, or they're actively trying to get there, right? So instead of hanging out with people that are trying to get there, learn from people that have already been there and have already gone through all the problems you're going through. They've already, trekked that path. So it's better, in my opinion, or just the overall idea I'm getting at is it's better to follow people that have already been there than to theorize or theoretize, whatever that word is. Just pretend or try to figure out how to get there with people that are trying to get there. It's just a better idea, more time efficient. You get more wins. People can help you. This person that has already been there can personally mentor you. If you can't find a person or you can't afford a mentor like that, there's free education all over YouTube that you can kind of adapt into your daily lifestyle. So yeah, the biggest thing is environment is huge. If you are a smoker and all your roommates are smokers as well, then you're going to stay a smoker, right? If your environment is surrounded by that stuff all the time and it's constantly in front of you, it's going to be hard to break out of that. So that's just the big thing I got. The next thing is finding dopamine in hard places. So doing the things, finding out how to rewire your brain to get dopamine from hard things, right? So going on a run, how do you find out, or how do you figure out a way for you to get I guess a rush from that? Or how do you figure out what for you is the trigger that makes that enjoyable for you? So looking within yourself, finding out how to make hard things enjoyable for you, and getting consistent at them is probably one of the most important things you can do. Get comfortable with doing hard stuff and find joy in doing that, because it shapes you as a better person every single day that you do that. So for example, for me, it's like figuring out ways to reward myself when I'm doing the hard work. So if I'm cold calling for a business for for hours on end, getting told no after no after no after no, then every 25 calls, maybe you get up and you go for a walk, or you hang out with your roommates for a second, or do something that you enjoy on a regular interval. So just some key stuff there. Also, one of the biggest things that I want to touch on for a minute here is it was mentioned in this book. I've seen it across multiple things as well, but I guess the get to framework instead of the have to. So I'm saying like, oh, I have to go to work this morning, or oh, I have to go to the gym. Instead of saying I have to, reframe your mind into I get to. This is something that I've adapted over the past probably year before even reading this book. And it, whether you attribute that to just a straight mindset, discipline within yourself, or up to a higher being, some religious figure in your life, then you get to do these things rather than you have to, right? In the book, it says something about a guy in a wheelchair, and this guy's asking him a question like, oh, it must be so tough being in a wheelchair. How do you deal with it? And he's like, this wheelchair is, the most liberating thing I can think of. It helps me. Without my wheelchair, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. I wouldn't be able to move. I wouldn't be able to be here right now. I wouldn't be able to talk to people, go out in nature. I wouldn't be able to do anything. So when you reframe your mind and you shift your mindset into saying, oh, I get to do these things, I get to be stressed, I get to have these problems, I get to get told no, I get to make phone calls every day, then it's just a really good mindset shift to improve your mood every day. And I find that it helps me get through some hard things. Just saying, oh, this big project is in the way, like I have to do this for my boss, like I have to. It's like, no, you have a job, you have a job that pays you well, you have good benefits, you have this and that, all the good things, and you get to work on this project. Like, you have the opportunity or the privilege to. So that's probably been the biggest mindset shift that I've made, like I said, over the past year or so. But yeah, those are pretty much my key takeaways for the book. Highly, highly, highly recommend this book if you're trying to get better at doing things, become a more consistent person, develop into a person that has good habits and has a healthy lifestyle, and you just find yourself in this downward spiral that you want to try to find a way out of. This might be the thing for you. So I'll leave an Amazon link below. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more like this, I'll be doing a lot more book reads and breakdowns like this on my channel. So go ahead and leave a comment what book you want to see next, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.